Welcome to ProKitchen Software online video tutorial series. In this video, we will explore default settings. We will locate and identify default settings, identify each tab within default settings, and identify and set each default parameter. The very first thing you should do upon using your ProKitchen software is to set the default settings to your preferences. Default settings affect the appearance of the ProKitchen interface, as well as set the parameters for every design moving forward, unless overridden within the design settings for a singular design. Once these settings have been created, they rarely need to be changed thereafter. So it is important to make your selections that reflect how you design 90% of the time or more. There are two locations in which you may access the default settings. The first is in the File tab. When you left-click the File tab at the top left of the ProKitchen window, a new page will open. On the left side of this page, near the bottom of the list, is the Default Settings option. The second location in which you may access the default settings is from the View and Settings ribbon. Navigate to the top of the ProKitchen window and left-click the View and Settings tab to open the ribbon. Locate the default settings icon shaped like two green arrows forming a circle. Left-click in either location to launch the Default Settings dialog box. On the left side of the dialog box, you will see several tabs. General will allow you to manipulate the save functions, determine the appearance of the software, and what units of measurement will be used when designing. The Construction tab will allow you to set the parameters for the walls, cabinets, countertops, and more, each being essential components that will determine how each of these elements will appear within the software as you design. In the Moldings tab, you may enable and select components for the one-click Add-all molding and one-click Add-all molding lighting tools. Textures will allow you to select each of the room texture samples to be displayed in the 3D rendering. The Customer Report tab will allow you to determine your pricing parameters for each cabinet catalog installed to your software. And the Email Settings tab will allow you to determine how you would like to send emails from within the software. We will walk through every default setting option contained within each of these tabs. Know that when determining these settings, do not click the OK button at the bottom right corner of the dialog box until you have completed selecting or adjusting the parameters to your preferences, as the dialog box will close and you will need to reopen the Default Settings dialog box to continue the process. Let's start with the General tab and work our way through each of the settings one by one. In the General tab, the very first thing you need to do is to determine the design pathway. While ProKitchen Online does automatically save to the cloud, it will also create a duplicate of the design that will save locally to your computer. The design path is the pathway the software will use in which to save your designs locally to your computer. This is the pathway the software will use in which to save your designs locally to your computer. This field must be set for designs in order to have a place to land within your computer. Navigate to the right of the field and left-click Select to launch a dialog box containing all your computer files. At the top of the new dialog box is a drop-down menu to assist in finding the appropriate location in which to store your designs. Because with ProKitchen Online, you automatically have cloud storage, you will want to select a location within your C drive. Choosing a virtual or external drive may lead to problems with cloud storage, autosaves, and auto backup functions. Once you have selected the C drive from the drop-down menu, navigate to the Users folder below and double left-click. The options will refresh to the contents of the Users folder. Select the appropriate user folder in which you personally use and double left-click. Again, refreshing to this folder's contents. Here, you will want to select the Documents icon with a double left click. Once inside this folder, you will need to create a new folder specifically for your ProKitchen designs. To create a new folder, navigate to the top of the dialog box and left-click the Manila folder icon with the red sunburst. Then, rename the new folder. Type on your keyboard a name that will be easily identifiable as the folder for your ProKitchen designs. The name will populate in the folder name field below. Then, left-click Open to designate this as the landing space for your designs. This is now the location in which all autosaves and backup files will be copied to, as cloud storage only stores the last 5 autosaves of each design. Next is the autosave function. By default, this is turned on and will allow the software to automatically save your work as you design at a specified time interval. This option is very helpful in ensuring that in the event of lost power or internet connection, you will not lose an entire block of design work. To adjust the specified autosave time, either highlight the field and type, or utilize the arrows to the right. The recommended time frame for the autosave function is 10 to 15 minutes. Auto backup is also by default turned on. This option, in addition to cloud and autosave storage, will create a backup file of your designs, saved locally to your device, and will save at a predetermined time interval. Because backup files are to be used only in the event the original design file becomes corrupted or accidentally deleted, and saving takes up RAM speed, the time interval here does not need to be as short as the autosave function. The recommended time frame for this option is 35 to 45 minutes. Again, setting this interval by typing or using the arrows to the right. The next option is Session Auto Log Off Time. This option will determine at what period of inactivity it will automatically log you out of and close the software. It is important to know that you may only have a license logged in on a single device at a time. So if you work in ProKitchen software from multiple devices or locations, it is important to select an appropriate auto log off time. When you left-click the drop-down, you will see your options as Never, 15 and 30 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10 hours. Make certain to select the option that is most suited to your workflow, neither logging you out too often, nor in not enough time. 2 to 3 hours is generally the best selection, providing you plenty of inactive time at the office and ensuring that it logs you out of the software when you are between locations or devices. For application settings, you may determine whether you would like the interface to read in English or Spanish with the language drop-down, and determine which of the 3D viewer options you wish to use. The options here are 3D Edge, OpenGL, or Direct 3D. 3D Edge being the most up-to-date version of the 3D viewer, and the additional options being the older viewers. To receive the highest quality 3D HD renderings of your designs, select 3D Edge. The last option in the application portion of the General tab is the Company Logo option. If you have a logo that you wish to print to reports and appear on 3D HD images, navigate to the right of the logo path field and left-click on Select. The dialog box containing all your computer files will once again reappear, in which you may search for your desired logo file. When you have located the desired file, left-click to highlight it in blue, then left-click Open. Note that only JPEG or PNG files may be utilized for the selected logo, and it is recommended the file be thumbnail size or no larger than 300 pixels for best rendering. Once selected, the logo will appear in the preview panel below, and activate the Position drop-down menu, which will allow you to choose where this will print to reports and 3D images. You may select between left upper, left bottom, or right bottom corners. The next option under the General tab is Appearance. This tab contains options that will affect the appearance of the software interface, info and global option panels, tabs, ribbons and toolbar sizing, cabinet and wall handle options, and a few additional settings. The first option is Appearance and refers to the interface as a whole. The two options here are Standard and Classic. Classic is the older version of the software, and Standard is the newer, more contemporary version known as Ribbon. Standard is the most user-friendly option, and all the video tutorial content is based on the standard interface layout. Dialog style refers to how the dialog boxes will appear, again with only two options, Classic and Standard. Classic being the older version and Standard being the newer. Standard is the recommended setting for both options. Info panel refers to how selected items will appear within the info panel. You may choose to select Image, which will provide a line drawing representation of the selected item, or select 3D, which will provide you a fully interactive 3D rendering of the selected product. The next two settings refer to the Global Options panel. The first will determine how the options for each global specification will appear. List will provide a text-based list of the options. Icons View will provide an image gallery of the options. Selecting Icons View will allow you to see door and drawer styles, finish options, and more at a glance. The second setting for the Global Options panel refers to how the specifications and the available options for the specifications will appear in relation to one another within the Global Options panel. Vertical will place the necessary specifications at the top of the panel and the options at the bottom. Horizontal will place the specifications to the left of the panel and the options to the right. The scroller setting is for touchscreen users. Here, you may choose between mouse mode and touchscreen mode. While you are welcome to select which option you prefer, a left-right click mouse with a rollerball is the easiest way in which to navigate the software. In the next portion of the appearance settings, you will determine your size preferences for the tabs, ribbons, and toolbar icons. To adjust the ribbon size, left-click and hold the slider to move it to the desired size. Minimum reduces the ribbon and tabs to the smallest possible. Maximum increasing to the largest, or anywhere between. Make sure to select the sizing that is most comfortable for your viewing. Remember, the smaller the tabs and ribbon, the more design space you will have, and the larger the tab and ribbon size, the less design space you will have. But know that at any point while designing, you may hide or return the ribbon by left-clicking the arrow located at the top right of the ProKitchen window. You may also adjust the font size within the software with the drop-down menu. Your options here are Computer Settings, which will adjust the font automatically to the preferences on your device, 75%, which will reduce the font to its smallest size, median size preferences of 125 and 150%, or the maximum allowed font size of 200%. When a font size has been selected, you will see a preview in the box below. Again, make the selection that is most comfortable for you. In the Toolbar Icon Size drop-down menu, you may select the size of the icons located on the toolbar. You may choose from Computer Settings, 100, 150, 2, 3, 4, and 500%, or Fit Horizontally, which will size the icons to fit the toolbar according to how many icons you have placed there. Handle settings refer to the handles that will appear on walls or objects when they have been selected with a left click, and will provide you easy access manipulation tools without having to access the right-click toolbox tools. You may turn these on or off by left-clicking in the box to the left of the specified handle option. To alter the color of the handles, left-click the current color displayed to the right to open a color selector box. Find your desired display color and left-click to select. Then left-click OK to apply. You may also turn on or off the cabinet rotation handles. One thing to note regarding cabinet rotation handles is that when you left-click to select an item, these handles will display as circular arrows that will appear on every corner of the object. If the object is smaller in size, these handles may overtake the object. There are additional rotation methods available, so you may leave this option off if you desire. You may also choose the style in which these handles will appear by left-clicking the radio button to the left of the desired option. Choose between Default, which appears as arrows, Arrows, Compact, or Rectangular. Dialog settings refer to the pop-up dialog boxes that appear when selecting certain tools. The Keep Dialog Positions option will ensure that when you reposition that specific dialog box, then exit, it will reappear where you have left it when opened again. Save dialog positions on exit will perform in the same manner, but will save the location of the dialog box even if you exit the software, returning the dialog box to its last position on the screen when reopening after restarting the software. The Reset button will restore all dialog boxes to their default positions upon launching. In Other Settings, you have the option to turn on or off the Catalog tooltip and Advanced Catalog selectors, which are additional tools to assist in resizing, positioning, and creating modifications prior to placement. These are incredibly helpful tools, and it is recommended that you have these options turned on. The Semi-Transparent Plan and Elevation Selection option, when turned on, will have the effect of making any selected item become semi-transparent. Next up in the General tab is Network. This option will display your current server settings and is a legacy parameter from the older ProKitchenNet software. This option will be removed in the version 12 update. In the Units tab is where you start to tell ProKitchen software how you design 90% of the time or more. This will affect every design moving forward, unless overridden for a single design within Design Settings. To select your preferred unit of measure, left-click the radio button to the left of the option. The final setting option in the General tab is only available to PC users and will allow you to decide at what capacity the software operates. You may choose between 32-bit or 64-bit. The option that will provide the highest capacity is the 64-bit option. Selecting 32-bit will force you to run the software in classic mode and should only be selected for older devices with minimal RAM and CPU capacity. The second tab within Default Settings is the Construction tab. Here, you will be able to control how your walls, cabinets, countertops, and additional options will be built or will function. Again, these should be set according to how you design 90% of the time or more, and all options except for the cabinet construction settings may be overridden for a single design in Design Settings. Wall thickness determines the thickness of solid walls built as foundations for your room. The current industry standard is 4.5 inches. To alter the dimension, you may highlight the current text and type the desired value, or utilize the arrows to the right. The inner arrows will adjust the value by 1-inch increments, the outer arrows by fractional increments. Zone width refers to the depth of the wall placement zone that will extend from the face of a wall. A zone width of 30 inches provides plenty of space for you to place objects and allows for wiggle room for placement purposes. Wall height will control the height of drawn walls. Current industry standard is 96 inches high. However, if you design with a different wall height more often than not, enter that value here. Wall item alignment refers to where items placed on the walls will sit within the elevation. When left-clicking the drop-down menu, you will see that you may choose to top align, tops of items aligned with one another at a predetermined height, or bottom align, bottoms of items aligned at a predetermined height. Left-click your preferred wall item alignment to select. Then, adjust the height parameter in the field below. In the Cabinet Construction option, you may view and edit the depths and heights of each cabinet element. The default for each of these, set by Pro Kitchen, are standard sizes, and only apply to the Pro Kitchen sample cabinet catalog, and will not affect the standard depths and heights determined by your various cabinet manufacturer catalogs. However, if you design with different cabinet heights or depths, you may alter the necessary fields. Again, remember these settings may not be overridden within design settings, so if you ever need to alter these, you will need to return to default settings to make the adjustments. Countertop construction settings allow you to view and edit the countertop parameters, controlling the overhang dimension for side, front, back, and end of the countertop. Select your preferred countertop thickness, and also set your backsplash height and depth parameters. These should be set in accordance with how you design more often than not, and may also be overridden for a singular design within design settings. In the setting labeled as Other Construction Settings, you may select to add additional pallet weight to your designs. When left-clicking the arrows to the right, you will adjust the value in 50-pound increments. You may also adjust the nomenclature of cabinets and other items with dimension nomenclature orientation. The options available in the drop-down menu are Default, which is at 0 degrees from the front of the object, 45 degrees and 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise. And you may also determine your preferred parameters to offset hoods from cabinetry items, helpful for precise cabinet or hood placement. When you have your collision detector turned on, if you place a hood or cabinet less than your preferred offset, you will receive a collision detection notification, so you will know to reposition the item. In the Moldings tab, you may enable your one-click Add All Moldings tool on your toolbar. To enable a molding, left-click the box to the left of the molding. Then, left-click the drop-down to select your preferred cabinet catalog. To select the product to be installed, left-click the Products drop-down. When you hover over each of the selections, a preview of the profile will appear. Left-click the desired product to select. You may also enable the one-click Add All Molding Lighting tool in the Molding Lighting settings. Left-click the box to the left of each molding lighting to enable it. Left-click the drop-down menu to select the product. Adjust the placement distance. Then, left-click and hold the intensity slider to adjust the wattage at which these lights will render in the 3D viewer. Note, if you specify either the molding or molding lighting options within default settings, know that these will be the default settings for the molding and molding lighting one-click Add All tools, and you will need to ensure that while determining the design setting parameters for a singular design, The enabled catalogs and products are set to match the cabinet catalog and lighting preferences for that design. Or you may unintentionally add molding to a design from a different cabinet catalog, or molding lighting options that are incorrect for the rendering. Under the Textures tab, you may adjust the textures of the countertops, backsplash, flooring, wall covering, and ceiling that will be the default room textures for every design moving forward, unless overridden in design settings. To select each texture, left-click Select to the right of the texture field to launch the Textures dialog box. Follow the catalog tree to find the sample you desire. Left-click the sample to see it in the preview panel. Left-click OK to select. You may also type the sample name or number in the search bar and left-click the search button. Then click the sample and left-click OK to select. Continue this process to set any other textures as needed. Note that with your floor samples, you may rotate the sample either horizontally or vertically. Customer Report will allow you to determine your pricing parameters for each individual cabinet catalog installed to your software. If you take some time to set these parameters in the default settings, you will save yourself time in creating customer reports, as these figures will already be determined. To alter the figures in each of these fields, highlight the current text and type the required value. Enter the appropriate sales tax based upon your local sales tax regulations, and the applicable tariff fees for the selected cabinet catalog. If you will be charging a design fee, enter the value either as a % of the customer cost or a flat dollar amount. And if the design charge is going to be taxed, left-click the box to the right to place a check mark. Determine and enter your shipping fees, either by charging a specified dollar amount per pound, per cubic foot, by percentage of the customer cost of the cabinetry, or by a flat rate shipping dollar amount. Then, determine the necessary installation fee, either selecting to base the installation fee upon a percentage of the cabinetry cost, charging a flat dollar rate per cabinet, or by choosing to charge a flat dollar amount for the entire installation. You may also determine the pricing parameters that will create the customer cost for the cabinetry with the discount, multiplier, and margin and cost multiplier fields. These options each have multiple fields, allowing you to utilize these as multiple pricing levels for sales purposes. Perhaps one for customers at full price, one for contractor discounted price, and one for the friends and family discount price. Doing this in advance to creating any future reports will remove the additional calculations required to create each individual quote. Once the defaults have been specified, when you begin creating your customer report, you will then only need to select which of the pricing parameters you wish to base the customer's cost on, allowing you to create reports in a shorter amount of time. For more information on how to utilize these fields, visit our pricing parameter setup tutorial. The last setting to specify within default settings is the email settings. Here you may select the method of email delivery. The ProKitchen SMTP server option, when selected, will send emails from the software as if it is being sent from the email associated with your ProKitchen license. User SMTP server option will allow the software to send emails from a specified personal account, such as Gmail or Yahoo. To utilize this option, you will need to know and enter the SMTP server, account, password, and port information. Or you may select the third option of Outlook Express. This option will enable the software to deliver emails as if it were being sent from your Outlook Express email. You may also determine if you would like to auto-attach the design.dsg files. Remember, however, that attaching the .dsg files to emails in which the recipient does not have a ProKitchen software license will send them a file they will not be able to open, as .dsg files may only be opened within ProKitchen software. So it is recommended that if you will be generally sending emails to your customers from the software, to leave this option turned off. Once all the default settings have been set or adjusted as necessary, left-click OK at the bottom right corner of the dialog box. If you are prompted to restart the software to apply certain settings, do so now to apply. Once the default settings have been determined and applied, your software is now set to your preferences and you are ready to begin designing. Thank you for watching this video tutorial. For more videos like this, please visit www.prokitchensoftware.com.